Hi violiners, welcome back to the Violin Studio. Today we're learning 6 scales and 3 different finger patterns. Let's go. Something that's really important to remember is the meaning of half steps and whole steps. The half step on the violin means that your fingers are touching. They're together, there's no spacing between them to fit one more note. Whole step means the fingers are enough apart just to fit one more note there. Not more, not less, just one more note. Okay, so remember that when you're playing scales. We're gonna speak in terms of half steps and whole steps. That's why these are called diatonic scales. It's because it's a mix from half steps and whole steps. If they were only half steps, they would be called chromatic scales. If they were only whole steps, that's a whole tone scale. So these are diatonic. We'll start with A major scale, and we're gonna start with this finger pattern. One more thing that's really important to remember is that all major scales follow the same whole step, half step pattern from C major scale. And that is, they all have a half step between the 3rd and 4th and the 7th and 8th step. So whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. It's going to be a lot more clear when you start practicing them and repeating them, and you're going to start to understand. All right, so now we're gonna do the A major scale first. We've done it in another video, but still I want to do it again a little bit slower. So we're gonna have this finger pattern, 1 and 2 apart, 2 and 3 together, 3 and 4 apart if you're using the 4th finger. If you're not using the 4th finger, then, doesn't matter. 1 and 2 apart, 2 and 3 together. Start on A and slowly remember this. Something you can do to check your intonation is compare the A open string to the 3rd finger A on the E string. That's an octave. It's the same note, and if you play it together, it should sound like almost like one note. If it sounds anything like this or like this, that's probably either too sharp or too flat. You must move your finger and match it. Now, we're gonna do the same thing starting from the D string, and that's gonna be our D major scale. It follows the same finger pattern, same places, same everything, just different string. Check. And you can go back. And one more scale with the same finger pattern is G major, starting from the open G. And those are the scales that are going to use this finger pattern. Now, we're moving on to this finger pattern. 1 and 2 apart, 2 and 3 apart, 3 and 4 together. Or, in other words, whole step, half step. The scales that can be practiced in first position in one octave are B major, B major starts on B, that's the first finger on A string. Now we're going to do E major, that starts on the D string with the first finger. And we can do the same starting from the G string with the first finger, and that's going to be our A major scale, but starting from in another pitch, so in another octave, in the lower octave. First finger on the G string is A. That's the second finger pattern. Now we're going to learn the third finger pattern that is like this. So 1 and 2 together, half step, whole step, if you're using the fourth. We're going to start from the third finger on the G string, which is C. This is the C major scale. You can find it by playing all the notes. And that's your C. I mean all the notes on the G string in first position, first couple of notes. So fingers together. And then you can do the same thing starting from the third finger on D string. This is our G. Now, the G major scale in the higher octave is going to be with this positioning, same finger pattern. So 1 and 2 together, 2 and 3 apart. We start on third finger on the D string. You can, but you don't have to use the fourth finger if you want to try it with, without, whatever feels best for now. It's good to use it just because, it's going to develop together with the other fingers. Out of these 6 scales that we played, only C major doesn't have any sharps or flats. That's a neutral scale. All the notes in it are natural. Again, the whole steps and half steps are with the same pattern, right? The half steps are between 3rd and 4th and 7th and 8th. The reason why in the other scales we add sharps is to fit that pattern. Okay, so the A major scale has 3 sharps. The A major has F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. When you start on A, in order to have the half steps and whole steps in the same places as C major, you have to raise 3 notes: F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. The D major scale has 2 sharps. So when you start on D, you only have to raise 2 sharps in order, 2 notes in order to fit that pattern of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So that is F sharp and C sharp. And the G major scale has only 1 sharp, and that is F sharp. Now moving on to the next finger pattern. The B major scale has 5 sharps. So in order to fit those half steps and whole steps in the right places, you had to raise 5 notes. That is F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. You don't have to memorize all this. In later videos, I'm going to show you what that means, how you can count, so you don't have to memorize everything, and you're going to just follow the patterns and also use your ear. But it's good to know it, and I'm just giving you this information in case you want to dig deeper into it. The E major scale has 4 sharps. That is F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. The last pattern that we did was this one, where you have 1 and 2 together and 2 or 3 apart, and 3 and 4 apart if you were to use the 4th finger. And we played 2 scales in this. We played the C major scale and the G major scale. Now, the C major scale doesn't have any sharps or flats, so we have all the natural notes. That one is with 0 sharps or flats. Just remember that. The reason why you need to practice scales is, besides improving your intonation, you're also going to understand keys and which notes you're playing. So you're really going to develop your ear so that you can play whatever you want later on. But this is the basis. This is the time that you need to spend learning these basic things so that everything else feels a little bit easier later. In the next video, I'm planning to start with technical studies, so etudes and exercises. So stay with me, subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments which scale you're going to practice today. Stay in tune with yourself.